Welcome back, guys. So today we will discuss about the Docker file, right, in our Docker basic series. So in last video we have seen that what are the all types of network we have. We have seen the actions on also for the bridge, custom network, host, and none, right? So today we will discuss the Docker file. So Docker file is nothing. Docker file is just a kind of set of instructions, right, which we will give to the instruction to Docker, and Docker will execute all those instructions one by one and create one custom image for us, and then using that image what we will do is we will run our containers, right? So first I will show you manual stuff, right? What I will do is I will create one let me see, I will create one container called web, and I will use image which is Ubuntu, fine, or let's say I will use Nginx, correct? And it is done, but I think we forgot to attach the ports, right? So what I will do is I will just delete this and I will do it again. Docker run hyphen itd hyphen p 80 colon 80. What is happening? Come on. Name equal to web hyphen p 80 colon 80, and I will say nginx. Where is the problem? Problem is here. Okay. Now if we see, we have one container running on port 80. I will just take the IP of this box and I will just git one. You can see our Nginx is running fine, right? So this is something that directly you can do, right? Let me take the example of Ubuntu as well, right? Let me remove this container again, 1A, okay? This time what I will do is I will run one Ubuntu container. I will name it again as a web, but this time I will use Ubuntu. Sorry for the typo, ITD Ubuntu. Okay, it is fetching the image, and we have the image is container is running, right? And what I will do is I will run one more container, something called name equal to web1 and port 80, right? This time you can say it didn't try to pull the image, right? This we have already discussed in our previous video, right? You can go and see, find the difference, like why it is doing like that. Okay, I will not talk here. So we have two container running, right? One is web and one is web1. I will go inside the web1 bin bash, okay, and I will gonna install Apache here. Let me run apt get update just to update the source list, and then we will install the something called Apache 2, which is the package name of in Ubuntu. Let's install it. Yeah, done. Now we will start it. Fine. And I will hit that same button again, but this time it is Ubuntu, right? So remember that port 80, because we can publish only one service on a single port, right? And we have already opened port 80 on AWS, so we cannot run multiple ports. So that's what. But you notice that I have done so many steps, but all are manuals, right? If you need to do the same stuff on many hosts, right? So again, you need to do the same stuff manual to each and every server, right? So here comes the Docker file, right? So Docker file will help us to place all these steps which we just for implemented manually, right? It will do all this stuff for us. We will gonna write one simple Docker file, and then we will push it to our GitHub repository, right? So first let me create one uh, repository on GitHub, right? I'll just make it public and I will say nothing to add, and just simply create a repository. It is created, right? So what it is doing is either you can create a new directory on your server and you can follow these stuff, right? Or if you already added one directory, right, what you can do is you can run this command and it will gonna push, right? So what I will do is I will create one directory called cd web, right? Okay, first we need to create, and then I will go inside, right? You can see as of now nothing. So what I will do is I will initialize the git, right? Now git is initialized, you can see, right? No commit yet, nothing. It is not tracking anything. I will try to create one series on git on basics, right? Then you can refer it. If you are not familiar with git, then no worries, just see what is happening. Okay, so what I will do is now I will create some random file, my first file, and I will push it to let's say file.txt. Fine. And now if I run git status, so it is saying that there is one untracked file, right? So we need to add this to the git. Either you can say dot to add all files, or if you want to add some specific file, then just name it. If you now run git add, so it is saying, okay, there is one file which is being tracked, but it is not committed. It is still on the local repository, right? So what we will do is first we will commit it, or you can see that I am just following all this stuff: git add, git commit, git branch, and all this, right? So it is fine. Git commit hyphen m. I will just say my first commit and hit enter, right? Now what I will do is I will just rename my branch to main because that's what it is referring, and then I will gonna add my remote origin which we just created. I copy and pasted here and hit enter, and now I will push it origin main. It's gonna ask me my username. I think it is Docker Basic 2024, right? And it will ask the password, right? But password it will not accept. What you need to do is you need to go to the settings, okay? Settings here, and then you can go developer settings, and here we have the tokens, right? I have already created one Docker, right? What if you want to create new one, then you can create here, right? Come here, just name something, and you can set the expiration date, and you can hit okay. I just want to repos as a scope. Scope means like what it can access, what you can access with that token. That's what you can do. I'm not gonna create new one. I will use my existing one. This is my token, right? It is just 7 days. It will automatically expire after 7 days. Now I will go and I will paste my token and hit enter. And you can see it has pushed my code to my repository. I will go again to home and I will go to my repository, and if you see the file text, right? The purpose of to showing this is like we will just gonna create one file called Dockerfile here, right? And we will push it to Dockerfile, and then we can delete everything, and then we can clone it again, and I will try to show to build it again. Okay, so let's take in action. So name should be Dockerfile, right? D caps and all are small. But before that, let me just give you a brief overview of, so it will always start from the base from, right, where we will just put our base image. Then we can see some run instructions like install, okay, or make directory or cp, something like whatever you want to do, right? Then we can use the add, right, and like adding to some files from local to some target directory or some specific path, whatever you want to do. And then we have the command, like what command we want to run with this stuff, right? Apart from that, there are so many like expose, you can set the environment, you can give the entry point, you can give the add, right? So expose is just like on which port you want to expose your application, that you can uh, put it like 8443 or whatever. Environment is something like in database, when you run the Postgres SQL sometime database container, so it required to be expected some environment to be set. So same can be passed through this. Entry point and command, right? With these two keywords, you can set the like the purpose is just to run the command, right? Like what is the difference is command is something like it will just run, right? Like whenever you wherever you put it will just run. But entry point is something like the moment your container is launched, right? So there must be some process running, otherwise your Docker will gonna kill your container, right? There will be no more container running. So under entry point, what we will just set is we can ask to run some process or some commands as a entry point, and command is also doing the same, right? And add and copy is also same, but what is the difference is it should be copy, right? So add is something just to copy, right? Copy the file from your local directory to target directory. Apart from that, you can just copy the tar directory. And the beauty is it will extract the tar file. Either you don't need to run any other command to extract it, right? It will just simply extract the tar file. It can fetch your code from URL, right? If your code is sitting or your file is sitting, let's say on GitHub, right, or somewhere, you can simply give that path and it will download and put that file under the target directory. Copy is just from the local, right? It will not do all these additional stuff which add will do. All right. So that is just the basic introduction of the Docker file, right? So let me write my Docker file. What I will say from Ubuntu, okay? I will just run apt get the same steps I am writing which we just done manually, right? What we have done is we have updated our source list. Then what we have done is we have install Apache, right? But we will just say -y flag to not to prompt for yes or no, right? It will just continue to your installation. That's why I just put the -y. Now what we will do is we will create one local file. I will just put some random stuff and then we will save it to where www.html. Fine. And then I will say, okay, once it is launched, run this command. Which command? Apache CTL. Okay. And just run it in background, otherwise it will gonna stop and it will keep on running. All right. And if you want to expose something, then you can say expose port 80. All right. So let me save it. We have our Docker file, this one, and it is expected to be one file from dot which file. uh, what I will do is I will go again inside and I will just specify the file name here. Why? Because we have two files, right? I just simply wanted to copy only the index.html, so I will just say index.html and I will come again and let's see how it looks now. And we will create one file. Welcome to path for cloud docker class, and I will hit in index.html. Right, we have index also. So to build the image, right, there is a command called let me type and then I will just explain. So what we are doing is we are building a image. Dot is just your source context, right? Which one is Docker file, right? You can give the absolute path as well if you are running from somewhere else, but we are running at the same directory, so I'm just putting dot. And hyphen t is something you are putting some kind of tag to your image, right? So I'm just running my web. Let's try to run. Well, there is a typo. It is CDM. It should be, which is CMD. Okay, my bad. Let me fix this and I will hit run again. Okay, what it is saying? Invalid reference format. Come on. It should be small u, right? Because there is no Ubuntu image starting with capital U. You can create your own and you can push it, right? So this time you can see it is running, right? It will run step 3 is performing. It is installing it, then it will copy, right? You can keep that step, keep an eye here to see. So it is installed. Fourth is you can see that it has added and it has ran. And now we have, I think it is done. Okay, expose, it is saying that it must be in kind of uppercase. Okay, I think that is fine only. So we can see that we have image created my web, right? So what I will do is I will run docker run hyphen itt and I will give at:80 and this time I'm using my web. Now I'm not doing anything, right? But it is saying that okay, there is already something using Docker. So let me remove everything first. Docker ps-aq. Okay. Okay, dollar, because we are passing the output of the containers ID. So you can see nothing is running. I will bring that command again, and this time we have container is running, and I will go to this and I will just refresh, and you can see welcome to Path for Cloud Docker classes. So you see what I have done is I just wrote one Docker file, the steps which we performed earlier manually. Now this Docker file is doing all stuff for us. And it has created one image called Docker images if you run my web, right? So what you can do is you can push it to your, uh, what do you call it? To your Docker hub. Remember in last class we have done. So, but before that, what we need to do is we need to tag it to our same. Like what I will do is I will just say my web latest 2. If I correctly remember, it was Docker 604, and I will say my web. All right. And if I'll say Docker push and this one, so it will just resource denied. Obviously, I think it was not Docker 604 then. But you can see that how we can push it, right? Let me see if I remember. I need to check what was that username we have. I think it was Docker basic 604 or something. I need to check. Sorry guys, I need to check. I forgot. But yeah, you can check the same stuff in the previous video, like how we can tag that image to our repository name and then we can push it, right? So probably it was Docker basic 604 if I remember correctly. Mm, no, I think it was different. So it is not accepting, so obviously. But yeah, but here today the agenda is we need to push it to our GitHub, right? So you can see as of now there are two file and track. Let me quickly add and then I will commit and I will say added Apache Docker file. Okay, and then I simply push. Again it is asking, so it was Docker basic 2024 and I need to copy my token. I will just paste and will hit. If you go to your this one and if you refresh this one, right, so you can see that Docker file and file.txt all are came. So what I will do is I will go back one step, and I will remove whatever is running and I will remove all images. Okay, Docker RMI, Docker, MyWeb, Nginx, and Ubuntu. Just imagine we have our new server, right, where nothing is happened, right? I just have this code where my code is sitting. I have this URL, right? So what I will do is I will run git clone and hit this enter, and you can see it is asking. So again I will give Docker, but it should not ask because it is publicly available. I will check in GitHub class. Fine, no worries. You can see it has launched one Apache, and here you can see that all three files are created, right? I'm not doing anything. What I will do, I will build again this to, let's say, new web. Okay, Everything is done. Now what I will do is I will just run -itd -p 80 colon 80 and I will say new web. That's it. Now go and hit that enter. It will say because we haven't changed anything, right? That is why. If you want to see what we can do is I will just enter this file, okay, and I will add not this one. We need to go inside the index one, right? Uh, from GitHub. I just changed some content just to be sure, right? But it is not something that now if you refresh it will gonna list there. No. What we need to do is we need to build it again. And if you see, so earlier image was, it is still there because it is referring that layers, right? But it was untagged, unnamed. Now what we will do is we will launch our container again with this same image. It is run. Now if you refresh, you can see your new content. So this way you can create your Docker file, you can push it to GitHub, and either you can push it to, if you wanted to not to build again and again, right? What you can do is now you can tag this image same name with the your container, sorry, that Docker Hub repository, and you can push it to Docker Hub. So next time, what you can do is simply say Docker pull, right? And you can push your image. What is it? Docker basic 604 or something. I forgot that name. I need to check. And let's say my web like that. And you simply run this. All right. So let's see. So now I think we have covered a lot. So in next class, probably we will see that how we can. mm I will show you the Docker Swarm, right? Like the Docker Swarm is a orchestration tool offered from the Docker, right? Where you can just orchestrate your stuff. We'll discuss that what is orchestration and everything. All right, so I will take a pause from today from this video. And if you like my content, then please subscribe my channel, like it, and share it with your colleagues and friends. And I will meet you in next. All right, thank you. Bye bye.